Hello, Mui Han. How are you doing?
Oh, hi.
Hi. How's your journey so far during this COVID and all?
Oh, been quite challenging, I think. Our kind of
Definitely.
business that we always meet people suddenly restricted to home, actually is, yeah, the whole paradigm shift, I think.
Yeah, man. It's like a crazy, all one day before we are seeing a lot of people, and then the next day is like Zoom back all at home.
Right.
Crazy, right? So, to our friends here, all our friends here, we have Mui Han here, all right, with us. If you can just say hello, give a like, give a heart. Mui Han is here to share a lot of important info, okay, today, especially for graduates and undergraduates. Of course, those who are working can always use the tips. It's almost the same. We can use those tips, I believe, right, Mui Han?
Yes. But the session more tailored for undergrads
Right,
and
right, right. Okay. So let me just introduce Mui Han, all right, for the benefit of everybody. Mui Han is actually a good friend of mine. We actually met in LinkedIn, and we met actually some time back also, but LinkedIn, we are actually pretty connected. We do a lot of work together. Let me just explain a little bit about him. He's actually the principal consultant for Change Dynamics Consulting, and he has got 12 years of experience in leading diverse consulting assignments, not only in Malaysia, but all over Southeast Asia. Okay, he was with PwC Advisory Services before implementing different aspects of organizational development projects for various clients. I believe even construction and white. Maybe you can share a little bit after this, Mohan. Okay, a little bit about your consulting.
okay,
Uh,
sure.
and also he founded the Primed for Success movement, and that's where I saw he's very active, and he has helped a lot, thousands of students. All right, he started in 2017. He focuses on enhancing Malaysian undergraduates employability. Right, he knows a lot of graduates are not employed at the moment. Right, he focuses on enhancing Malaysian undergraduates' employability through personal branding on LinkedIn. He has conducted 52 sessions at 17 Malaysian universities with more than 5,500 undergraduates in attendance. Right? For his efforts, Mohan has recently been named as one of LinkedIn's 100 most inspirational icons in Malaysia in 2018 and 2019 by Marketing in Asia. Right? So today, he is here to share with us 5 critical LinkedIn personal branding strategies, especially for undergraduates and fresh graduates. Over to you, Mohan. Perhaps you can also share a little bit about your consulting work so that for the benefit of
Sure.
everybody.
Sure. Hey, thank you, Nessa. So good afternoon, everybody. Mui Han here from Change Dynamic Consulting. Very happy to be sharing this afternoon with all of you. Nice to see you all. I see some of you here. Yeah, Azam, good friend from. Uh, so wanted to maybe just give a good background of myself. So, Change Dynamic Consulting primarily is a management consulting firm where we help corporate clients in the areas of change management, strategy consulting, as well as HR advisory. So these are the 3 key areas that we do quite a bit. But on top of all that, I personally have a very passionate interest in training, but only a particular topic which is very close to my heart, which is emotional intelligence. So, besides management consultancy, I actually go around to help various clients to actually understand the deeper understanding of emotional intelligence, and as well as also to help corporate managers to manage some of their emotional challenges. So, I offer a very unique course, corporate course that incorporates training, classroom training, but also I also will sit down with all the participants, host the training one to one for half an hour to actually do a bit of executive coaching, especially in the
Oh,
areas of emotional management.
Right.
Because I feel that a lot of corporate managers today always have the challenge of there's no good way to vent out their frustration or no place to actually talk to. You can't talk to your boss because that might affect your promotion and increment. You can't talk to your peers because all of them are competing for the next job or the promotion. Definitely can't talk to your team members because you're already demotivated. You shouldn't be demotivating them. So when a third party non-vested person like me comes in, I find that it's actually very, very effective. That's why a lot of times I actually advocate to organization, even if it's not me, please do engage executive coach for the managers. In fact, anybody who have managed more than 2 or 3 people should have a coach or a mentor because it's actually very, very useful for their personal development. So that's on my professional side. But because in our consulting business, we have valleys, high and low. And usually our normal cycle, not because of COVID, but our normal cycle, we usually have downtime anywhere between November all the way up to March, right? And that is usually the case. So for many years, because primarily one of the key group of people that I deal with are HR directors, HR managers, hiring managers. Their major grievances and complaints are very consistent. They keep talking about there's always a talent challenge, a talent acquisition challenge, trying to find the right talent, especially entry level, fresh graduates. Right? And they also find that the quote unquote quality deteriorates by the year. And they always have this idea of how come our graduates are getting from bad to worse, right? And I feel that quite a bit because when I was in corporate, I also was hiring. So I could empathize quite a bit on their sentiments. Particularly, not to single them out, but more so, the focus was always on this perception of our public university undergraduates or fresh graduates from the public university. And this one became personal because I myself is a public university graduate. I was from UPM. So I always feel that it's actually not so true to say that our public university graduates are inferior to the rest. But I feel that probably there's a lot of challenges within the public university structure as well as the way we are being taught and exposed. So with that in mind, I thought I better do something about it. And since I was in university until been working for so many years and on my own, occasionally I was actually invited back to different universities to give talks on various topics and subjects per se, including emotional intelligence, which is my kind of passionate area. So I realized I've never had issues or don't have challenges connecting to undergraduates, so I can talk to them, they understand me, not too bad. Actually, when they ask me to go to secondary school, that is the challenge. I got tough time talking to teenagers these days. So you always say there's a signs of old age in that sense. Anyway, so I thought maybe I will just join that 2 ideas into something that is very useful. On one hand, no point that we keep complaining about the issue but not taking action. On the other hand, since I got time, usually during our consulting down our low time period at the end of the year, which is also the public universities semester starts in September all the way to maybe January, February before they close. So I have a very good opportunity. So I started to go around different universities to actually say, hey, why don't we look at your graduate employability challenges and issues? And one of the things that I realized that actually the universities today are very well equipped. In fact, it's quite a wrong perception to say that they are not being prepared. So when I went down to the ground, I visited many universities, I realized that they have various type of graduate employability programs being done, from resume writing workshops to grooming workshops to interviewing skills, you know, you name it, they have it, huh? And they are quite advanced. In fact, there's a lot of parties or people working within this space in that sense. But one thing seems to be missing was this whole idea of digital personal branding. And of course, in a way, probably that's how LinkedIn came in that sense. So just to clarify, I have no direct connection to LinkedIn Corporation. Just like you, I use LinkedIn quite effectively for my own personal branding and for my own work, and I find it very useful. So I thought maybe this is one idea which I can actually help the students to leverage on. So I then spent about 6 months or so to do intensive research by myself. What are the things that, so I began from nothing, zero. I don't know anything. These days, I still find it very hard to accept that people call me a LinkedIn expert because after 2.5 years ago, I really know zero, you know, and I think I had like 500 connections or what. But I purely just indulged myself just for the purpose of I wanted to serve the students. That was my primary goal. And because of that, then I forced myself to learn things, to do research, to listen to different LinkedIn experts, the real experts. Also to learn their techniques and put into practice. And there's many on LinkedIn itself. So there are many things that we can learn. And with that, when I was ready, so that's where I then moved into universities and to say that, you know, I observed that you have quite a bit of employability programs for all your students, but there's one missing link, which is probably nobody does LinkedIn. So at that time, about 2.5 years ago, when I went around, I just noticed that only one university, and also it's a private university, that had a short module to teach the students on how to use LinkedIn, which is quite what we call a green field, in fact, quite a green field. And true enough, when I started my sessions, every session that I talked to, less than 10% have a LinkedIn account. And in that 10%, less than probably half or more than half of them don't even know why they have a LinkedIn account. Yeah. So that was quite a challenge that I had to encounter. But it's good because that's where they say the opportunity is. So when the market doesn't know what it is, then you've got a good place to start with.
Yeah.
And that's how I started in November 2017. So that was quite some time back. And I actually had a lot of challenges trying to convince university administrators, lecturers, leadership teams to actually allow me to run my session. Because they, number one, most of them are also not on LinkedIn, except a very small, rare few that would understand why it's important to do this in that sense. But I persisted. I was quite, I would say, pushy. I would say, very pushy. That I managed to get enough sessions to kickstart. And before you know it, they say rest is history. So after this is coming to more than 2 years, yeah, I've done more than 50 odd sessions, which is quite a milestone for myself even. And but the journey is far from it because there's so many people who still don't realize, especially at the university level, why they are doing this. So maybe I will just clarify the misconception first before we talk about the strategies in that sense, because it's interrelated. So I remember running this session, Prime for Success. I commit and I have a structure for that. And this structure is, of course, very flexible. So I can give a 2-hour session, a 3-hour session, a 4-hour session, or a 2-2-hour session, or a 2-3-hour session, depending on what the university can offer me. So anytime they can offer me more, I'll take more and I'll give more content in that sense. It's a purely hands-on workshop method. But when I started, I actually didn't do a hands-on workshop method. I did almost like a training, awareness training kind of workshop, where we just need to highlight to the participants of what is the functionality, like what we are doing today, more about awareness. It's not a hands-on. We can't show you step by step to say, but just to tell you what it is.
Right.
So I did 3 sessions of that because I told you I was very new then. I'm no expert, and whatever I know is how I use it, and also observe how other people are using it. But LinkedIn is such such a good user, has such a good user interface and user experience. You can say it's almost a dummy proof, after a while you play with it, you know what to do with it, right? And I was thinking that my target audience is all what we call the digital native, the group that grow up with digital devices as part of their toys and their tools. So they should be very okay. You just have to tell them what to do. They know what to do, right? So I ran 3 sessions of that. And my 3rd session, there was such a variation because there are still friends who saw me, wanted to actually come along with my sessions. So I invited, I think, 3 of them, and one of them was my business partner, Sean. So I did a variation. At the end of the session, I break them up into small groups, and I assigned these 3 friends of mine, including my business partner, to maybe coach or mentor a small group. Each group have like 10 to 15 students, right? I took one group, so there were 4 groups discussion. I think that class we have about 55 people. It was in UPM,
right?
And we were doing that. And this group was actually from the medical veterinary college. So they're pretty much quite savvy and quite smart, I would say, comparatively. So comprehension was not an issue. So when I finished the session, my business partner pulled me aside and said, "Hey, bro, I think they don't understand what you've been teaching for the last 2 hours."
Really? Oh no!
So I was like, this was really how to say quite a enlightening moment, a big aha moment for me. All the trainers out there, you may want to bring a third party to come in and sit into your session and give you some feedback. At least that was a moment for me, actually.
Right,
so
right.
I asked Sean to say, what do you mean? I think, is it, am I going too fast, or is it because my English or language proficiency? They say, no. They may not speak up, but they understand English very well. When you communicate to them, they speak not too bad. They can understand exactly what you're trying to say in that sense. But it's the why. They say they don't understand why are you teaching them to use LinkedIn. Because there I was crusading, if I can use this word, LinkedIn. As students, you must be on LinkedIn, and this is how you do it, pop, in that manner. And then I come to realize that's a big misconception, and I'm sure many undergraduates still having today. And for those watching today, if you have this misconception, let us help you to shift this mindset, because it's very important, because it will change your entire attitude towards LinkedIn. So the misconception that I realized after debriefing with my business partner, Sean, was this. The students that was in the session believed that LinkedIn was another job portal. So they were slightly confused because they are very familiar with job portals like JobStreet, the various job portals. They are very familiar with that.
Right.
And to them, their processing is that I only need to be in a job portal about maybe a month or so before I graduate, so that my CV is there, and if there's a job advertised there, I can go and apply for it. And so this is the idea that they get, that why LinkedIn is important, because to them it's a job portal in that sense.
Right.
As well as it's also what we call a digital CV Dropbox, so to say, where you dump your digital CV there, right? So that's where it suddenly occurred to me, because primarily we all still use LinkedIn to look for a job, and in fact, professionals are there, people who have been experienced higher, many of my friends or business associates, when I talk to them about LinkedIn, they will also agree with me that they only use LinkedIn when they are in a career transition. If they want to move on, then they be active on LinkedIn. And once they get their new job, they no longer look at it until the next job comes up, right?
Yes.
So in a way, that perception is also very strong with our students. So they feel that why is this guy coming in, so enthusiastic, trying to push, and push us to use this job portal, and I'm in second year, or even in third year. What on earth is he trying to do? So that changed tremendously how I approach the entire thing in that sense.
Right.
Because I spend a lot of time telling them why they need to do it, and today's employment is getting more and more challenging. And also some of the feedback that I get from my corporate clients, from my HR managers or HR directors I interact with, how can they become better or it become more to enhance their presence or to become more marketable.
Right.
So then from 4th session all the way to 52, I changed my mode. It literally become like a 101 LinkedIn session where I teach you individual buttons to press. It comes to that kind of training, and it works very well these days.
Right.
And they can see the value. And in all our workshops, they'll become a live workshop where you need to bring a laptop. If not, you work on your phone. And the 2 hours or 3 hours is purely about 60-70% is really working on the profile itself. So by the end of the session, you will have covered some of the key important things in the profile, which only then talks about how you're going to use it from that point onwards.
Right,
so yeah, the misconception, I just want to clarify here again, I think that's very useful. LinkedIn has become more than just a job hunting place or a job portal. It has a job portal function. You do see some jobs advertised, but that function is actually very minimum compared to what it's capable of. So in fact, if you want to compare in any terminology that is correct, LinkedIn is really a social media platform. And with social media platform, it has a lot of potential, just like other social media platforms, from your Facebook to your Instagram to your other things. TikTok, I think, is the number one thing now. Right? And so with that, but using this social media platform, that's how well you can build a very strong case of evidence of your capability, of your knowledge, of your thoughts, that you can profile yourself to use it for employability. So that is the difference. So with that in mind, it's also not just a digital CV. So you don't do it one time and you leave it until you need to find your next job to update your CV. You don't do that. But it's more of a tool for you to tell your story on a periodic basis. And periodic basis is up to us to define. Some people tell, like yourself, you tell story every day. So that is your periodic basis. Some people do it 2-3 times a week, like myself. Certain people do it every week once, or certain people do it 1 month once. But that is where it becomes very powerful. And I learned this from other experts. So I was in one session, I think it was a LinkedIn local session, when my good friend Aslin Abdul Rahim was one of the panelists. And I think the question was posed to him because Aslin is one friend that I know that spends 12 hours a day on LinkedIn. This guy is crazy.
Yes.
So he gave this very nice analogy, which I thought was brilliant. So he was saying that actually when you go for a job interview, when you submit a 3-pager CV, maximum 3 pages anyway, right? That is very 2D. Like if any hiring managers read a CV, while you give good information, that's why you need to prepare a good CV. But it's still very 2-dimensional, and it doesn't give much room for a hiring manager or recruiter to fully understand the candidate, right? But if you start putting out a digital trail or a curated form of storytelling about yourself, your activities, uh, over a period of time and is visible for people to look at, that gives a very good understanding. So if I want to get to know you better, and if I can scroll your history of posting, of what type of activities you do, what are your thoughts on a certain issues, how would you do certain things, or who do you work with, how often do you work with, that gives a very good upfront first impression of a candidate even before the conversation starts. And that kind of thing is actually very, very powerful. And this is where I thought, wow, this message I need to share with as many students as possible. And that's what I've been telling them to do, in all my sessions, it's so powerful that you do a posting on a leadership development camp that you organize in university with the pictures, with yourself, with your thoughts, with your participants, with your committee members, and then put a caption on what is your key learning and so on and so forth. Versus this appear on your CV one line, chairperson of leadership development camp 2019 in USM, so to say. That has, the difference magnitude of impact is so great comparatively. And then we don't forget, today's our hiring managers, our recruiters are all digital savvy. They also spend equally a lot of time on LinkedIn. They watch who they are. And in fact, if anybody will apply, I would have got to say that most recruiters will do first-hand screening on social media sites like LinkedIn. LinkedIn for definite, for sure, in that sense, right? So that is where the difference is. That's where the difference is. So when we start to do that, we also have challenge because most of the students that come for a session, they are either in their final year or even end of their third year. Then when they listen to this logic, they say, wow, Mui Han, wonderful, but sorry, too late because I got too many things to do, the final year project, the final assessments, the tests, the assignments and so forth. Want me to every week post something, wow, that takes a lot of challenge. That's where now I start to talk to different universities, say maybe we should run this program when they are in year one or when the start of year two or second year. Yeah, so basically that's basically some of the background of where I started and how I started it.
Right. Awesome. That's I think for everybody here, Mui Han is here. He has spoken to more than 5,500 students all over the country about how to brand yourself in LinkedIn, right? So, Mui Han, let's just take a few minutes to just say hello to all of the gang here who has said hello. Afika, let me just read it out from the top. Afika Zuriati says hello. Azamuddin, and then Joanne, Te, Farah, Mariam, okay. And let me just see Facebook, John Mui, Chi On, okay. They're all here, and people are still coming in and saying hello. If anyone wants to say hello, please feel free, okay, before Mui Han goes into the 5 critical LinkedIn personal branding strategies after this, right? So he has shared why he's doing this whole thing, right? I think he found something that a lot of people need, but they don't know. So he's out there to educate on how they can use it clearly for LinkedIn to benefit themselves, right? So again, Joanne says, what if we post about our stories or activities that we have attended on LinkedIn? Is it a good thing? Okay, we will answer this probably after your strategies. You want to answer this now or later, Mui Han?
Sure. Yeah, it's also one of the strategies. So maybe I will just share the 5 first,
Yes.
and then we open up for more Q&A. But thanks for that, the question, Joanne. Keep it coming, keep it coming. So maybe I will just share to my topic of what I think are the 5 critical LinkedIn personal branding strategies that all undergraduates should do. In fact, not only do, but do it consistently in that sense. And for those who have just graduated and going to graduate, it's not too late. Although it will take more effort on your time, but it's not too late. to actually start looking into it, right? So first strategy is probably, I think, Rasa, you covered this in one of your videos, and if you have not seen any of his videos, you can check it out. Is what you need on to have in your LinkedIn profile. So your LinkedIn profile need to be of at least a minimum professional standard in that sense. That starts all the way from your profile photo to your headline to your even your experiences and so on and so forth. Just wanted to say one thing. There's two schools of thought mainly when it comes to digitalization. One school of thought will say that actually this is the way to go, and whatever we've been doing manually, now we move everything to digital. The other school of thought still have a lot of security concerns. They will say that you try not to overexpose yourself digitally. Just post minimum or just enough information there so that people won't take advantage of this information in that sense. Well, coming back to second school of thought, I would believe that certain personal information you shouldn't be exposing yourself, like your IC number. I find that a lot of people post their CV online with their IC number, with their phone number, with everything there. So I will agree that personal data shouldn't be shown. But if when it comes to your actually personal involvement, your details of your CV, I would really encourage people to share more information. The more, the better. So when it comes to LinkedIn profile, the focus is to actually put more, not less. Don't be shy or be stingy with what you have done, and also some of your experiences, and also be more descriptive. Don't be put a one line. So a lot of people, they may have done internship in a certain environment, and you look at their internship experience, it's just one line, quite pathetic, doesn't tell much in that sense. So put more meat into it in that sense. And I think, Yasa, you have a video on how do you do a good LinkedIn profile, so I wouldn't go into the steps. So I would really encourage you to watch his videos. I think it's on CAP Training itself. If not, I've rehosted his video under our Prime for Success Facebook group. You can actually come and follow our page, and the LinkedIn video is there. So getting a good LinkedIn profile, a professionally minimum standard is important, with a professional profile photo. And maybe just to quickly touch on the headline. Headline is something very tricky. If you don't change the headline, by default, it will take your last position. So I always tell the students in my class, the worst headline or the most boring headline you can have is student in University Putra Malaysia, student in University Malaysia Sabah, student in Monash University Malaysia. These are the most boring, because why? Everybody, there's so many people who are there that has that. So do change your headline. Headline is very critical for two reasons. Number one is the one thing that people will see when they look at your profile besides your photo. Photo is the first thing they see. Second, they will see your headline. So that headline need to be very captivating to capture their attention, to further connect with you, or even to have a read of what you have written below, your experiences, the summary, and so on and so forth. But the other thing is the headlines are also serving as keywords for the LinkedIn search algorithm. So whatever you put in the headline, actually will comes up in the search in that sense. That's why we ask you not to put or to leave it by default as a student, because it doesn't help much in that sense, right? The other thing about headline is also, this is a personal perspective. I think some people will disagree with me, but I've checked enough with a lot of hiring managers and HR managers. Not so wise to put that you are desperately seeking for a job. That sounds a bit straight.
You mean there are people, students doing that, putting like desperately seeking for a job?
A lot of fresh graduates tend to do that. They will say either actively seeking for a job, or they are looking for a job, or they try to be creative. Can I submit my CV to you, and things like that.
Right.
It does capture attention. It does capture attention, and I think we got a good case of of that happening. But
Right.
it doesn't serve in terms of the algorithm portion, right?
Right.
So, so a good blend of this would be also putting keywords like your not your university definitely. We don't need that. But maybe a key area of the industry that you want to be in. So, for instance, you want to be in a mechanical engineering environment. So, mechanical engineering could be one keyword there. Then just leave it there because you want to be in there. People still searching for mechanical engineers. You might pop out in the search. You got about
Right.
160 characters to play with. So maybe the others is to focus on your key traits and your core strengths. Yeah.
Mm.
So either you want to give some soft skills, some technical skills, which is very useful. In fact, I like all your Excel training videos, and I keep telling the students that uh, Microsoft Excel is a very important skill, or advanced Microsoft Excel skill is a very important skill set in most organizations. Yeah, you can shop about that, advanced Excel skills. These
Right.
are the things that people will look for, and those in engineering, you got your AutoCAD and other
Right.
languages. So it could be a balance between the industry and the skill set and even soft skills. So you could
Right.
be in leadership, you could be in public speaker, whichever that applies. Yeah.
Right. So, Muihan, would you be able to give an example of how a headline for, let's say, a person ABC who's looking for a job in, let's say, mechanical engineering? How would you be able to give a short, simple, idea for a headline?
So the technique that I always share is to look at two. One is to uh, focus on the area of industry, and
Right.
then also the specialized skill set. So specialized skill set is something should be more unique to the industry per se.
Right.
Uh, so while I talk about Excel, I need to qualify. Only Excel has a premium to it. So by
Yeah.
shouting that you got Microsoft Word skills, actually
Right.
nobody
Right. Right.
or even
Right.
PowerPoint for that matter.
Right.
Uh,
Right.
so those other two are given, but Excel is quite a unique skill set. So
Okay.
what I will do is I will advise this person to maybe just to put mechanical engineering, right?
Right.
Don't need to put your university because your university will appear down there in that sense. And don't
Right.
even need to put that you're a student, even you have not graduated. No need to tell people you're a student. You're
Right.
just
Oh.
wasting the characters on your headlines. It's okay when people will
Ah.
know that you're a student anyway. Not a
Right.
big deal.
Right.
Uh, uh, Maybe then do a backstroke and also
Right.
indicate maybe some of your core engineering skill set, whether it's AutoCAD or I think there are few, if I
Right.
understand engineering too, for design purposes and things like that.
Right. Right.
Then you do another backstroke, then maybe talk about your personal strengths, or it could be leadership, it could be uh, team commitment, or anything that makes you very individualistic, but also make sure that you have a story to tell. Okay.
Mm.
And for those who also have some achievement, they won some competition, it's also
Right.
good to shout it out there. So I also
Mm.
advise students these days, if you have done any competition and you have come out champion or whatever, put it there because it's good and you're quite unique. And when people see it, it will
Right.
trigger arouse interest to further read who you are and what you are. Right?
Right. 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 Understand. So, for example, it'll be like, okay, let's say, like, I give an example, right? So maybe it's like Vyasa, that's my name on the top, and
Yeah.
then the headline would be mechanical engineering slash AutoCAD, skill in AutoCAD, Excel, and then Wushu champion, for
Yeah.
example.
Correct. Yeah.
That's a good headline, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
got it, got it, got it.
So you know for sure mechanical engineer, AutoCAD and maybe Excel is something that
Yeah,
people will search.
right,
Wushu is something very unique. People that will arouse interest. And then in your
right,
summary about section, maybe you give a paragraph on you are a Wushu, you're passionate in Wushu and you've been doing that for the last 20
right,
years of your life, and you've been to many competitions and things like that too.
right,
So you
right,
give a background on your curriculum activities, and that give a different perspective to the recruiters. Yeah.
Okay, that's a very good point because I think a lot of people miss this one out, like what you just said. Like, put up your, it's not just a job, your where you work last, but all the different skill set in the headline itself. And I think that's a very good point. It's a very good point. I think a lot of people here can actually make use of that.
Yeah. So then after the headline, then the big one is actually the summary. So the summary is also something that I find that most students don't do very well. They
Mm,
either don't tell enough story or they tell too long of a story.
okay.
So this summary page is the first thing that you would read after your face is right. That means the profile photo is correct. Your headline is captivating. The next thing is actually the summary portion. And in
Yeah.
this summary portion, I will always suggest that people transcribe their what we call elevator pitch into this summary section.
Right.
So, I mean, for those who are familiar, the elevator pitch is your 90-second introduction about yourself. Okay, how can you create impact in 90 seconds? In the same manner, you write it in your summary. In that sense. So
Right.
those who don't have idea, usually I will tell the students to think of your three core characteristics or your key three core strengths to describe in this summary page, right? And do come with a short story of it. So for instance, if you let's say your leadership is what you want to share with your audience, to say that leadership is my core strength, then you can also tell a story to say one of my core strengths is leadership. And when I was in university, I was the president for my residential college, which have about 1,500 students at any one time. I was the president for 2 terms, and one of my core responsibility was to actually take care of students' welfare. And during
Right.
my tenure, I actually co-organized the biggest job fair for our residential college, which attracted 500 companies with a total turnout of 5,000 students. Other students from other colleges also came. So you tell a story revolving why you say leadership is a core strength, and give
Right.
some meat to it in that sense.
Yeah, and you definitely can't write this in your resume because it's too long to write in a resume, right?
Correct. So
Yeah.
these are you are dropping evidences that you want the recruiter or the hiring manager to see. I wouldn't say all of them will see it, but at least you are leaving it there to ensure that if they want to look for it, it is there. No,
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Okay.
Of
Got it.
course, don't lie, don't make up stuff.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
good
Never
as
lie
well.
in your resume.
I
Otherwise,
need to clarify. Don't assume.
yeah. Okay, so let me just say, okay, so just a few people have also said hi. Aja, David, Husna, these are all friends from Facebook. Helen, Denker, Noralima, Muhammad, Aja. Okay, Aja asked, will I be able to show this session later to my son? Will it still be in Facebook? Yes, it will be because it's a recorded session. After this, the session will be still there, the same link, all right? And then Mui Han, okay, there's a question for you. Do
Yeah.
you conduct a webinar on personal branding strategies for graduates? Mui Han, over to you. You want to
Uh,
answer this?
at the moment, not yet, but if we have extended MCO, probably, I don't know. Yeah.
Okay. So I think if there's a long MCO, I think Aja, the answer is Muhan. I know he will. Okay, just a shout out there. Okay. And then Siti Munira says hello. Aja said, yeah, that's great. All right. So hope you got that answer, right, Aja? And let me just check and see again. All right. So Muhan, over back to you again, the
Yeah.
session.
So that was the first one. So to ensure that you have a good professional LinkedIn profile is very critical. And if you don't know how, please go and watch Yasa's video. He did one. If you still cannot find, go Google. There are many examples of that. If not, do connect with me on LinkedIn. Especially, I'll also follow my Facebook page, Prime for Success. That is something that you can actually look forward to, which we give a lot of inputs and more content on maybe on a daily or weekly basis. Right. So I told you I have 5. So that's just number 1, right? So number two is something that I feel that students don't do well and don't do enough, which is to connect with other people professionally. Uh, so they still, most that I interact with, still think that because now I convince them that LinkedIn is social media, so they straight away go into a social media mindset to say that I only connect with people that I know and are my friends. So this
Yes.
way, I think it's slightly, if you're a Facebook user primarily, I think the characteristic is slightly different. So I would advocate, even as a Facebook user myself, I would advocate that you only accept connection on Facebook for people that you actually know, because it's very, there's a lot of private things and things like that. You want to share it. But on LinkedIn, in fact, the idea is to connect with as many people as possible to start with, right? But to be more discerning, actually, you should be start actively connecting to professionals that you may want to work with in the future. So, for instance, the key example that I use in a lot of my sessions was to say that, for instance, if let's say you have an aspiration to work for a company maybe called Maybank, uh, one idea is to start looking into LinkedIn and see who are the key people in Maybank that maybe could be your future boss in that sense, and start connecting with them. And this where I find that students get very shy. They say, "Yo, I'm just a undergraduate, greenhorn, don't know who they accept my connection or not, and so on and so forth." So two things to that. Two things to that. Number one is just don't hit the connect button. Send them a personalized message. Please draft it out nicely to say that you are so and so. You are from which university. What are you studying currently? And you've been looking at some of their posting, this particular manager's posting, and you want to professionally connect with them on LinkedIn so that they can learn more. So you can actually draft something like that to send a personalized note. So they found from research, when you send a personalized note, the acceptance of connection increases by more than 50%, right? Versus you just hit the connect button. So don't be lazy. Please draft that note and try not to copy and paste that note. I know some people, they must do personalized note, but copy and paste. So it doesn't sound sometimes not so authentic to begin with. And worse still, it comes out sometimes wrong. So because you didn't change certain details. So just be more careful about that. Worst case is you copy and paste the wrong name. So instead, you're supposed to connect with Anand, you connect with Rasa. So it comes out differently.
I've seen that. I've seen that.
Because the previous one was actually you're connecting to Anand.
Right.
So yeah,
right.
Sorry, Wasa. Then you copy and paste that one and put it back to Anand, and then Anand say, "Who's Wasa?" I don't understand.
Yes.
So these are the things. If you can, don't copy and paste. Just be more diligent in that. In fact, I have rule of thumb for students. Your KPI should be every day. You should be connecting. You should send out 5 connections in wax to the people that you want to work in the future. Could be just the industry that you want to be in, and then slowly you can expand to other industry that possibly or potentially you want to be in. That is actually what we would suggest. So that's number one. Right? Number two is whether they don't accept your connection is not your challenge. It's not your problem. Right? So you cannot have control of that. If you only do things actually well enough, then you extend yourself professionally. I would say that most people would actually be open to accept connection if you put it in a way your profile looks good, you have a good photo, you have an attractive headline and an attractive story as a summary, and when you send a personalized note to say that you want to learn more professionally, usually people will accept your connection. And I think in our Malaysian LinkedIn business community, actually there were a lot of kind people, a lot of good mentors that actually would welcome more young people to actually follow them or to be connected to them, so that they can also share their ideas and expertise with them. So that is something that we will encourage people to do, especially at the student level. So one challenge we have, I told you about, didn't tell you, but I'm 42 this year. I graduated about 20 years ago, plus minus.
Right.
20 years ago when we graduated, we are also quite green, I would say. So I actually go around when I run my 52 sessions. I was in the halfway point that I was telling them about the feedback that the HR community is giving to the fresh graduates, how frustrated they are with their attitude, with their expectation, blah, 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 things like that.
Right.
Then after a while, I realized, this is actually not very helpful because when you tell people like that, it doesn't help me, I cannot change their perception and nothing to do with me, my senior's fault, and things like that. So I come to realize I stopped doing that. But I paint the picture differently in that sense that in today's employment world, it's very dynamic and very demanding, and in fact very competitive. So if you were to wait until you graduate all the way after your final semester, finish your final paper, or finish your internship, only you apply for a job, chances are you are fighting a losing battle. Because there are just too many applicants with too few jobs in that sense. And the recruitment, the hiring managers are very, very selective. I met so many people who tell me that we are looking for the best people. So we got a lot of assessment that goes on. We got a lot of criteria, we want to get the best fit. And because in Malaysia employment laws, there's this line, easy to hire, hard to fire. So you make sure you hire the right person. So trying to stand out among the rest, if you do the traditional way, like what I did 20 years ago, finish everything, only then submit your application, it may not work today because the world has changed. So I say, if I reflect back 20 years ago, I was also like the undergraduates today, very still, enjoy my university life, is so happening, and also very myopic. Maybe the word I would use is myopic. Myopic in the sense that my window of attention is the 3 to 6 months ahead. So I only look forward to what is happening next semester or what is happening next month. I don't think 6 months or 1 year or 2 years ahead in that sense. And I can afford to do that because this is my discovery period. I make all the mistakes in university, and by the time I graduate, I'm supposed to mature enough to say, maybe this is what I want. But unfortunately, I find that over the last 20 years today, people may disagree with me, but I find that students can no longer do that. You need to be very focused in what you want to do and where you want to go. So when I go into my sessions and ask, can you think of a company, especially those who are in second year, can you think of a company that you want to work for in the future? You'll be surprised 80% of them have never thought of this before. In that sense. But rightly so. I think 20 years ago, I was also like that in that sense. But unfortunately, it's different. Yeah, it's different. So we have changed the game. The game has changed. I don't think that the current generation are worse off than us. I would agree. I classify you as part of us. I don't think they are better off than them. To be very humble about it. I think every generation is about the same at a certain age per se, because of exposure and understanding. But just that my point of view is the environment has changed tremendously in that sense. And of course, if we know how to leverage on this environment, it'll be amazing. So one of the advantages of connecting on LinkedIn is, imagine 20 years ago, if you have the opportunity to actually connect online digitally with the CEO of a public listed company. It's almost unimaginable 20 years ago. But today it's so viable to do that. And I see so many people doing that. So if you're an undergraduate or you're a fresh graduate and you're not doing that, imagine how much lost opportunity, that you are not taking advantage of in that sense. Those days you ask me to connect with the CEO of a public listed company, I also don't know how to look for him,
First of all, we can't see them.
Google wasn't that advanced anyway. You can't search for them, maybe the only way there's all these rags to riches story that, you go and wait outside of their office, waiting for them to come out, then you go and introduce yourself, right? So imagine today you can do it online digitally. So if you don't take advantage of that, that is actually, I would say that is not so wise. So my challenge to undergraduates, especially you are in your second year or third year, you should connect with as many corporate managers as possible. In fact, by the time you graduate, you should have easily 50 to 100 corporate managers that you can actually refer to, either for career advice, either for job advice, or even to ask for jobs. In fact, yeah, because that's the easiest way to get hired. Uh,
Rather
so
than
so
going through all the interviews and all, right?
yeah, correct. I mean, if you know them, they don't give you. Don't worry, they don't give you the job without going through the
Yeah,
necessary procedure.
yeah,
But actually, knowing them gives you a good advantage over to
yes,
know them, because I mean, our environment, the relationship is still very
yes.
important
True,
in a lot of
very true,
businesses.
very
So
true.
so so I would suggest that you challenge yourself every day to get to connect with these people. So that's number two. And number three is related to number two is don't only just connect. So we got also friends that become a connection collecting kaki. So every day, because we can't say I need five, I just go and whack five or whack 10. After 10, I whack, I get five. Then by the time I got before I know it, I got 5,000. I'm
Yeah,
very proud of myself. But actually, that's where you need to start engaging your connection. So there's a lot of content being posted online or on LinkedIn on a daily basis, on an hourly basis. So as an undergraduate, I would ask you or to maybe share with you to say that maybe if you can invest 15 minutes of your time, not a lot, 15 minutes only. If you can want to do more, then ideal. Each day to read some of these comments and also, read some of these postings and also comment on them. Start to engage the corporate managers of Malaysia to actually in an intellectual discussion on the posting. And this is something that we don't do very well in school or universities.
right,
And
right,
this where Blue Ocean is all about. So I share a lot in my session about a good friend of mine on LinkedIn who does that when he was an undergraduate. And because he do that, he stands out. He stands out very, very well. Because why? There are not many people doing that. I mean, at the undergraduate level. So if we can have more undergraduates happily interacting with corporate Malaysia managers on LinkedIn on a very consistent basis, then it helps to enhance the relationship between the two generations per se.
right,
So it gives opportunity for hiring managers or recruiters to understand the candidate better, but at the same time also give the undergraduates a perception of what is needed in the corporate world. And that itself is a maturity process, which is very, very useful. So for those undergraduates which I see actively engaging with different corporate people, with different business people, online and offline, I salute you, because this is the right way. This is the right way to start your networking as young as possible. Your professional networking, right? It's very, very critical. So if you can just invest 15 minutes, look at a posting either from certain famous individuals or even individuals who are in a certain position in a certain company that offer a perspective, and you can actually engage them via the comments, right? And I always offer myself, and I think I can offer you too. They can start commenting on our posts first if they don't feel
yes,
safe to
yes,
comment on other people. So you can practice with us, and you see that those who are connected with me on my sessions, when they post something, I will always ask them to share their key learning points, right?
right,
What they have learned from the experience, or if they ask me a question, then I'll ask them back a question. Not so much that I want to be difficult, but I want to give them an opportunity to express themselves so that other people would have an opportunity to understand that.
right.
Okay? And between yourself and myself, I know we got enough connections that when you start commenting or interacting with them, our connections will also get to look at that. So they
Yes,
will also benefit.
very much.
So yeah, please, if you feel scared and you don't know what to do and you don't know how to take the first step, both me and Wasa almost
Yes,
daily posting can come and comment
yes,
and
yes.
then we will slowly handhold you to a more safer zone. Then you become more confident. then you can start interacting with the people that potentially to become your bosses in the future.
Correct.
So
Correct.
that is
Yes.
something that I will really encourage people. And this relationship, don't underestimate it. So you can build an online relationship like how both of us have, that can be translated later on into a offline relationship in a lot of cases. And that will help in your career. You may not get the job from that particular person, but maybe if you build a good enough chemistry with that person, when the time you graduate and you couldn't get a job yet, you can ask this person, by the way, can you maybe suggest to me which are the companies or which are the areas which I can apply for, or there's opportunities, please let me know. So these are the people that will be a stepping stone in your career journey, right? So don't underestimate them. And the basis is you should start today. You cannot start when you need to find a job. That's too late.
Yes.
You should
Yes.
start
Yes.
today. Look for the people that you think that will be helpful in your career, and then start engaging them. Right? When I start engaging them, don't straight away go there with your problems. Sir, people, sir, can you look at my resume? Like first conversation already ask for ask to do work.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
It's like it's digital and online, but people should need to treat this as if you're meeting a person for the first time.
Yes. Yes.
I always use the analogy, like you're not kawin also, you need time to dating
They.
first, get to
Yes.
know each other first. Don't straight away talk about how many kids you want to have, and so forth. Yeah. So
Yeah.
do that because if you're able to build the relationship over time, it will become very useful and meaningful in the longer term. Right? So
Right.
don't be so transactional. And a lot of students will say that, why should I do that? I'm so far away. This guy is like 20, 30 years older than me, generation gap, well, like I say, the world has changed. We can't allow. If you decide to wait, you'll be left behind. And we have enough unemployment numbers for the youth or for the graduates to show you how critical it is in our current environment. In fact, that is before the current COVID. After the COVID, I think it's even more challenging. So I would really advise all the undergraduates there, whether you're in the final year, whether you're in the third year, start with professional networking using LinkedIn as soon as possible. Discipline yourself every day, add 5 to 10 people on LinkedIn, and then with the people that have added or connected with you, start to read their posts, start to comment on their posts, reshare their posts, because you will grab their attention. Anybody that reshare my post will grab my attention. I was very curious to actually understand who is this person who have just reshared my post, And as a result, I get to know you better in that sense. And if you've got a proper write-up, you've got a proper profile with the right picture, with the right summary, with your experiences there. And if I'm hiring, maybe then we can start a conversation. Even if I'm not hiring, I may even look out for you if I know any of my clients or my connection or network is hiring. So don't underestimate that. So that is number 3. Number 4 is something that Malaysians don't do face-to-face. So maybe we can start doing it online, which is to ask questions. So if you can get more of our undergraduates to practice asking questions, this is one skill set that is very useful when they come out to work later. In fact, if they don't come out to work, they run their own business, this is also a very useful skill set. Like you and I, we ask our clients a lot of questions because without understanding our clients, we cannot sell our solution and services.
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
So regardless whether you're going to be in employment or in business, asking questions is a skill set that you need to learn today. And the best place I would say is on LinkedIn. So you can ask questions in 2 ways. In commenting on somebody's post. You read something, you want to seek further clarification, or you already got a hunch what he's trying to say, but you want to have a deeper conversation, you can start to ask questions. And you realize by asking questions, people will able to see whether how mature you are or not mature you are, right? And this way, I find that it's a good place for you to start honing this skill. Don't wait until you come out to work, only start doing this, because then it's too late or too costly. But now the worst case scenario, if you become too annoying or ask the wrong question, people just remove you as connection. That's it.
That's it,
Nothing
yeah.
further than that.
True.
Yeah, but it's a good training ground. So I encourage all our undergraduates who are on LinkedIn to ask more questions on other people's posting. Put that as a practice. Or you can do it as a posting yourself. And I see many people have done that. They just seek advice from their LinkedIn community. And again, Malaysian LinkedIn community is such an amazing group of people. I've seen so many postings who say that I went for 3 interviews, all of them didn't succeed. And I feel depressed about myself. What can I do as a posting? Before you know it, like 99 comments to say, why don't you do this? Why don't I offer this? And so forth. So there are enough people willing to step up to help you without any expectations. So if you can maybe put it into practice to actually do that, maybe not every day or one day, few times, but maybe once a week, there's nothing wrong. That helps in 2 ways. One, help you to become more mature so that you know that how do I word my question differently and become more professional about it. And that built a good skill set. And when I come out to work or when I come out to do my business, it helps a lot. And number 2, it also gives people an opportunity to understand you better. Because not only just by clarifying, sometimes your question is also an indication of who you are and what you are. Okay?
Right.
So that
Right.
is number 4. And the last one, which is actually related to Joanne, question they asked we should post our story activities that we have attended on LinkedIn. Yes, the answer is yes. And you can do this for 2 reasons. I find that it's very useful. Most of us attend university for 4 years, 3 years or 4 years, but majority is not. And in the 4 years, because there's so many things that's happening, by the time you graduate, I can quite guarantee you whatever happened in semester 1 or 2, you probably have forgot about it.
Yes.
Okay? And some of us even more hero or more champion, because we were trying to find the partner of our dreams. Whatever happened, we forgot because we are too focused on trying to find a life partner. I mean, jokes aside, this way, when you come to a job interview, although you got a good CV, very impressive results and so you call for a job interview, you'll find that it's a very challenging time because you're trying to recall your experiences to be shared in the job interview. And it is very common these days, I think I've done that, but I don't know how to tell this story. I forgot about this story and so forth. So if you practice periodic posting of all your activities and all your classes or all your projects on LinkedIn, of course, don't share any sensitive data that you shouldn't share. So for instance, if you do an internship in ABC company, I'm not asking you to share ABC's trade secrets on LinkedIn. Please don't do that. But you can actually say that, I've been interning in ABC company, if that's okay. If ABC say you shouldn't post anything about us, then don't say that you're in ABC. But just say I've been interning in this engineering company. And these are some of my key lessons that I learned for the last 2 weeks. Then that could be, working with teams are very important. Then you can describe the situation in a very generic and redacted way. Now, why you do this is, if you do it on a weekly basis or 2 weeks once basis, by the time you come to your first interview, this one actually becomes like your digital diary. Okay?
Right.
So you always, I was a candidate myself. So the half an hour or 1 hour before you step into the interview room, and most HR recruiters will ask you to wait somewhere, right? While you're sitting there, you don't know what to do, right? This is where you scroll back all your LinkedIn posting to help to refresh your memory of some of the activities, programs, achievements that you have done. Because all these stories will be very useful for you in your job interview.
Right.
Yeah. So by doing it now on a periodic basis every week, I make sure I post something about an activity that I've done. I post something about a program that I attended. I post, and you can post in multiple fashion or way. You can put dates there. You can put where is the place. You can give a context. You can give a caption, right? So that is one thing that you do. You create a digital diary for yourself before job interview. Of course, the second one, which I explained earlier on, this becomes the profile or a digital trail for people who want to find you on LinkedIn. So if hiring managers, before they see you face to face for an interview, they like your CV, they like your transcript, your grades looks great, you fit their profile and whatever. Before they want to call you for an interview, they may want to check you out on LinkedIn. And when they check you out on LinkedIn, they say, wow, not bad, this candidate, they have done certain activities and courses and so on and so forth. And yes, that also become a conversation during the interview. So if you do this, you are at all positive. You prepare yourself to remind yourself of all the good things that you've done in the past, so that when you go in that 1 hour interview, you're just telling impactful stories about your experiences, and that is always a good thing. And number two, you also have laid the foundation for questions that you are more in control of. You share in the sense that, because I keep talking about all these things in my LinkedIn, and when the recruiter saw all these things, they want to have a deeper conversation. I'm ready because I was there and done it before. So you almost shepherd the conversation. Of course, if you fake the posting, then that becomes a problem. That's why I not to fake it, in that sense, right? But if you are really been there and experienced that, nothing defeats it from actually sharing that.
Wow, this is really, really good ideas you have given, Mui Han. I think this is fantastic. It will definitely benefit. Would you be able to summarize again the 5 points so that for the benefit of everybody?
Definitely. So the 5 critical strategies for personal branding on LinkedIn for undergraduates and fresh graduates is this. So number 1, make sure you have a professional LinkedIn profile that includes a good photograph, a good headline, a good summary, and make sure that your work experiences is actually quite full. I mean, full in the sense that you give more description to it. Don't leave a 1-2 liner. So if you have done any internship, make sure you describe the internship, what you have learned in the internship, what you have experienced in the internship. Because internships today are one of the most important hiring points. In fact, the other one related, although nothing to do with LinkedIn, but I like to suggest this. I also noticed that Malaysian university students only do one internship in their 8 semesters or 6 semesters. Whereas if you look at most of our foreign graduate friends, when I was in PwC, I have every summer break, there are people coming back from UK who do internship in PwC or the Big Four. So by the time you graduate, actually they got like 6-7 internship under their belt, because every semester they come back and they do. Minimum there will be 4 at least, not 1, right? So if you have more, then you can have more things, more content to tell and more experiences to tell. And that's where I find that our public Malaysian university student may be of a disadvantage if you just do one internship, right? So don't wait for the one mandatory one. Actually, every semester you can go and do internship, right? I also got question before when I tell that, then people say, sir, can one, right? I thought it's illegal. So just to clarify, yes, can. You even in your first year, finish your first semester, your holiday, you can actually go to do internship. Nobody is restricting you, right? So yes. So the first point is to make sure that you're professional profiling in profile, right? That's the first strategy. Second strategy is we need you to start connecting professionally with all the people that you want to work for in the future or work with in the future, the companies that you want to join, and even the related corporate people that you think that will add value to your career. And use this opportunity because there's a lot very active corporate people on LinkedIn. Just hit that. And if you don't know where to start, not to self-promote, you can use the 100 inspirational icon. 100 people there, you should connect with all of them. Of course, both of us are in there, but nevertheless, that's a good place to start. You can actually go in there, you Google that, you can find the whole list and add those people, right? So second one. Third point is related to the second point is we want you to start taking interest with all your connections. Don't connect with them and don't do anything. Take an interest in them, read their posts, comment on their posts, have an online discussion on their posting, reshare their posts, and once you do that, maybe you can also have some DM, you direct message them with further clarification. When you direct message somebody, probably it's good to actually start off with just trying to uh, ask questions to understand things uh, before you come to the point that you want to get something from them. So what I'm trying to say is you shouldn't be messaging me for the first time straight away, ask me, sir, I need a job. Or sir, please review my CV. You should at least have some conversation with me over a period of 6 months or so. And before, you know, it's by the way, sir, would you mind helping me to look at my CV? Then I'm more
Yeah.
compelled to actually
Yes.
help you, right?
Mm.
It's just like these days we talk about etiquette, you know, at the professional level, the experienced hire and business people. The worst case scenario for most of us in the business world is the moment you connect with me, and after I connect with you, the first message that you send me is a sales pitch. You know, you're selling me something, or you give me your list of services. You know, and these are major no in social media etiquette. So in a
Right.
similar manner, undergraduates also need to learn that. Don't connect with a professional manager and straight away ask for a job, or straight away ask to review their CV, or straight away ask to recommend another job. No, take time to get to know the person and let the person know you. I think it's more
Yeah.
important, right?
True. True.
So that's number two. Number four is actually ask questions. So ask question can be in the comments. Ask question. You can post questions as part of your posting. And because questioning technique is one important skill that all of us need to learn. Because in our education system, we find that this is something that is very, very lacking of. We've been taught to answer but never to ask. As a result of that, most of our students and even most people in the corporate world, I feel, especially at the lower level, don't know how to ask questions and feel shy about asking questions. So we want you to start practicing these skills and use LinkedIn as a platform with an audience of all these corporate business people that is much more experienced, much more mature, to help you to increase your maturity and to do better in that sense. So yeah, practice asking questions. That sense. And lastly, is about posting. So do posting, schedule a posting at least once a week will be good. If you cannot afford that, then maybe 2 weeks once. That is the minimum. If you can do more than once a week, all right, it's good. There's no maximum to it. I wouldn't cap a maximum to it. But if because it takes time, so we are not asking you to post anything. So don't get me. I need to clarify this. Although I make fun about this, I don't mean to demean anybody. But if you are posting your pictures of your lunch, dinner, and breakfast on other social media platforms and taking time to make sure you get the perfect picture, why don't you divert some of those time to craft out a more professional personal branding post on LinkedIn?
Yeah.
Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
you
Fair
audit
enough.
yourself how much time you spend on Instagram to capture the perfect picture or the perfect food picture, and the caption and the hashtags and things like that. Of course, if you say, hey, very fast only, for me, I do 1 minute counting everything. That's fine, right? But if you spend significant time, let's say 15 minutes, 30 minutes to do that daily, why don't you divert half of that time to think of a very uh, more professional worded or more professional driven focused post on LinkedIn for yourself? And do
Yeah.
it once a week. That's good enough. Now remember, you leave this digital trail for other people to see so that they can understand your story, but also to serve as your digital diary to remind yourself before you walk into the interview room. So with that, that's my five critical strategies to use LinkedIn for your personal branding, your digital personal branding for undergraduates and fresh graduates.
Right. Right. Okay. So, friends, here, I think Muhan has shared a lot. If you want to just show your acknowledgement by showing a heart or a like, please drop in. Uh, Please feel free to just drop in that, likes, hearts, and all. And then Azamuddin has asked from LinkedIn, right?
Yeah.
From your point of view, does COVID-19 reduce job opportunities in the future? What should final year students prepare to face with this?
So if I have a crystal ball, then I'll be
No one.
I'll be the next richest man on the world. Good question, Azamuddin. I think it is something to be of concern. And I feel that personally, all the indicators actually look to a global recession, right? And graduating in the year of a recession is never good. And I was one of them because when I came out was September 11 and boom, uh,
Oh,
yeah, I was 2001,
okay.
and although Malaysia at that time took 6 months to have impact, I think US had the impact first straight away. I think it only hit us at the first quarter of 2002. But I remember it was very challenging time for a lot of fresh graduates, and even in the factory that I was being on, we had retrenchment exercises in that sense.
Mm,
So with all this happening, I think fresh graduates, you can look at yourself in two particular fashion. There will be still hiring. I don't think there will be a total hiring freeze. There will still be hiring, but hiring now become very, very selective to start with in that sense.
right.
Okay. The other one is also because there is a possibility of a scale down. Uh, when they scale down their businesses, then probably there could be opportunities for more lower level jobs. So, in fact, the chances are, as fresh graduates, if you can stand out at this juncture to actually get yourself counted, uh, that is very important. But it means from now until maybe June, not much time, you need to be very focused in trying to push for the idea of employability.
Right.
And it's where I find that not many people are willing to do that. So if you want to do things differently, and Azam, I know you've been doing fine, especially with your professional networking on LinkedIn, well done. So Azam is, just to clarify, was one of my students from UTHM who did
Oh,
session, right? And
wow.
today he's quite well connected. So on LinkedIn.
Oh,
uh,
awesome.
so
That's
so
great.
I would really encourage you to really start thinking more seriously of the people that you think possibility can offer you a job. Maybe to start the conversation now. In fact, of course, there's a lot of uncertainty, but nevertheless, if keep the relationship warm. So in a way, you need to be very focused, in the sense that I know for sure there's these 10 people that probably have jobs for me, or jobs that suits me because of their industry and company, that I already have a professional relationship because of my LinkedIn connection. So now
Right.
can I enhance this relationship by maybe having more periodic conversation, online conversations with them? Not so much to ask for the job yet, but maybe to engage them so that we build up and warm up the relationship. And by the time we out of the MCO, then things are more certain. Although it will be a very challenging time, but be more certain. Because during MCO period, most people will tell you we cannot make decision currently because of a
Yeah.
lot of things, right? So by the
Mm,
time MCO ends, it will take 1-2 weeks for everybody to stabilize, to define how we're going to proceed in the next 6 months to a year. Probably then there will be some focus and hiring decisions. They'll say, that is where is the right time to actually ask for a job in that sense.
right.
So I would say people like Azam would have an advantage because they have started this journey about a year ago, built
Yeah.
enough corporate connections, right? So now he just need to have a hit list now, the top 10 people that he need to continuously interact and engage. So for those who don't have that, especially in your final year, uh, I wouldn't say don't worry, but I'll say please start today. You don't know where it will lead to. But
Yeah.
this one exercise which I encourage you to start, uh, really need to move fast to actually do it. And even if, let's say, for whatever reason that the environment changes, we recover very fast, vaccine is found, everybody is back to normal, and the economy recovers, faster, then it's also no loss.
Right.
So this one skill set that we will really encourage you to do. And for those who are already working, experience higher 1-2 years, we also ask you to continue to do this. Don't only use LinkedIn when you need to find a job.
Oh,
Uh,
yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if you can continually build on a relationship online with different type of corporate people, Of course, people which is more high ranking than you and things like that. Engage them online. Same rules apply. Comment on their posts, get connected with them. Get to know them online. Then, if there's opportunity, take that relationship offline. Yeah, like Wasa here, expert. Online. Then before I know it, I see you having lunch with somebody.
As friends, yeah, they become friends lah. I mean, we have to get it offline eventually, right?
Yeah. So that's a good example. I'm trying to share the which I think everybody should do for final year student. Okay.
Okay.
So yeah. So that is the one. So work very hard. I know you're in your final year. For all the final years, you're supposed to graduate in June or so. You still got technically 2 months or 1.5 months. So this 1.5 months, your focus should be on who are the people that I need to start connecting with and build a relationship with. Okay,
Right.
that's very important. Very, very important.
Just a few more comments and questions, right,
Yeah,
Mohan,
sure.
before we finish. Taranjit Singh has said good points, Mohan, and then Shikin Shafiq
Hi,
says
Taraji.
hello,
Thanks again.
right, and then Al Fateh has asked Muhammad Al Fateh. He asks, is it appropriate to directly reach the HR of a company to ask about job openings, and internship placement on LinkedIn?
So for this, it is not to say not appropriate. In fact, if it's a recruiter, you can actually ask. But where I find is more powerful is you should be connected to them before you need to ask. So,
Yeah,
for instance, if you are in your second year, you actually don't need an internship placement yet, or you don't need a job yet, or you are in the third year, you don't need a job yet. Now is the best time to build your profile, get connected to them, get to know them digitally online first, right? And also on a periodic basis, comment on their posting or ask them questions. So what I'm trying to say here is relationship is a long tail process. So if you straight away come and ask me, do you have a job or not? So my answer is yes or no. Either I will tell you yes, please go and find out in our website.
right,
The posting is all in the website. Or no, I will just end it, because I don't have any relationship with you and it's very transactional. So, but
right.
if you can, build the relationship over time, and then when you need it, then you ask. Then people will be more willing to help you and answer your questions. If they don't have, they also tell you why they don't have and when you should apply, Or if they
Right,
have, they also will tell you who are the best people to actually approach and what you should do. So
right.
yeah, it's all about human relationship skills. Although we are doing this online, yeah.
Okay. So Joanne, thank you for the awesome sharing.
Yeah,
Mohan,
you're welcome, Joanne.
she's a student, right? And then she also has her own vlog.
Cool,
Okay.
cool.
And then Vivian,
Hmm.
can you see the question, Mohan?
Yeah, I can see the question.
Okay.
So Vivian asked, how can you brand yourself on LinkedIn if a person want to enter a different industry? So in a way that you should start positioning your activities and your involvement in those areas that related to the different industry. So, for instance, let's say I'm a food technologist. This is a real story. I'm a food technologist by training from UPM. So I'm from the food industry, and technically I should go into the food industry. But let's say I want to go into a different industry altogether. In like my case was training, and later became HR consulting. Uh, so what I will do if I were a student today, right? I will start posting and positioning myself on LinkedIn of all the leadership camps that I've run, I facilitated, that I share in, or also participate in more of this training related stuff, either as a support trainer or even as a participant, or go for certain certification that is related to the training industry. So these are the activities I become very focused during my undergraduate years. For some reason, I'm doing a food technology course, which I don't intend to be a food technologist, So I want to become a trainer. So in my 4 years of university, I make sure that I start indulging or engaging in this kind of activities. And not just engaging that, but also use my weekly posting to publicize that, to position myself. And many people have done that, you know. So because at the end of the day, there's one school of thought will say that, you know, your degrees are not as relevant to the job that you want to apply. But I would qualify to say that certain jobs still need a very specific degree lah. So like engineering, you can't run away. The professional ones, you can't run away lah. No? Medicine, you can't run away. Or law, you can't run away. But anything else which you don't have a direct entry, you may be able to actually go into it. So I mean that this particular degree that you're studying don't have a direct entry, or the job don't have a direct entry requirement in that sense.
Right. This is a follow-up question by her also, Vivian. We have worked part-time jobs, that skills are actually transferable, even though might seems insignificant for the next job. Do we still include it or just leave it out of the picture? Thanks.
So Vivian, for that matter, you need to learn how to story tell your internship or part-time job experience, right? So don't just list out your roles and tasks. So one of the automatic behavior that most undergraduates will do is, if they do a part-time job, for instance, they are a waiter in Starbucks, they are a barista in Starbucks, you know, they either put they are a barista in Starbucks or they say I'm a waiter in Starbucks, you know, and they leave it blank, right? So that, what I call real estate on LinkedIn, that amount of space given is actually for you to tell your story. So
Right.
you don't waste your time telling, you know, the so-called insignificant task, which everybody will understand and don't see how is it relevant. But you can take that real estate, that space, to actually say that in the 3 months I was in Starbucks, actually I was inspired and well trained in their customer service, you know. And for that matter, this is one of the most interesting. And then you tell a story. So, you know, one day, you know, I met this clientele, and, you know, it was very difficult per se, but because of my training or my supervisor that there, actually helped me to understand. First, we need to listen first. So I listen. So you can actually tell a story. Nobody stopped you from doing that, you know, for all your part-time job. So of course, not many people do that. But again, what I'm trying to say is, if you can indicate in your experiences there a significant skill set, like in this case, customer service, that you have been trained and adopted and learned and practiced, it becomes very useful in your actual full-time permanent employment, especially if customer service is needed.
Right. Good. That's a good point. Mui Han just answered Vivian Wong's question, right? We have some questions from LinkedIn. Okay. Amin Khalili,
Mm.
right? You see, Azam. He has, can you help me to give me a clear image of how undergraduate students to learn some soft skills and hard skills, and how students get certified?
Okay. So hard skills are the one that lead to certification. So when we talk about hard skills, it's all technical skills. And again, this is some promotion for LASA. So LASA run a lot of training, technical training,
Thank you.
whether it's AutoCAD, whether it's Excel. So and I mean, if you go for any of these courses, those are certification. That is actually give you opportunity to tell your future employer that you have been certified in AutoCAD, you've been certified in Excel, you've been certified in Google Analytics, you've been certified in so many things that you can do certification. And I really encourage some of you to do some of these things because it's very, very nice to I mean, it helps in your employability to get certified. Soft skills is something that probably certification may not be the right focus, but it has got to do with the kind of activities that you participate in. And that's where once you participated in, ability to tell that story becomes important. So my current observation is actually when people say that Malaysian students are very studious, they only study and they only care about academic results. I don't find that is true for university students, both public and private university. In fact, I find that our university students are very, very active. They got a lot of curriculum activities. This way, I would like you to enhance that. So I've been going around universities to say this. I feel that because you have so many curriculum activities, these days you need to be very focused in the type of curriculum activities that you participate. 20 years ago, our seniors, our teachers, our lecturers will tell you you should participate in as many activities as possible, right? But today, I would say that you should be very discerning and be selective in the sense that before you join any clubs and societies or any programs or any events, the question to reflect upon yourself is, how does this contribute to my employability? Okay, and what is the story I can tell my future employers about this experience, about this position, about this activity in that sense. So that becomes important because why? You don't have much time and there are too many things to do and too many things to learn, right? So you need to be very focused and selective. So if let's say you want to participate in this particular activity, make sure you are able to tell a story of how it enhances your employability. If you cannot answer that question, unfortunately, I would say it becomes a very own entertainment, Malay word called shop sendiri activity, which is not wrong, but I'm just saying that if you do too many shop sendiri activity, you don't have much time to do the more impactful needed activity for your employability. Right?
True.
So one of the things I've been very critical of, and I get into trouble for saying this, because I go around campuses and I see a lot of students spend 3 months, 6 months planning the graduation dinner of their seniors. I kept telling people, actually, doing dinners is actually a good activity, but don't do dinner for internal people, which has very low impact, in that sense. Right. I'm not asking you not to honor your seniors, because I'm sure your seniors expected you to honor them because they have honored their seniors in that sense. So they accept the balasan, they expect the reciprocity in that sense. But if you want to organize dinners, why don't you? And I don't see many corporates doing it. Why don't you organize dinner for corporate leaders? Imagine if your campus or your university or your faculty can organize a dinner for 50 corporate managers or 50 corporate CEOs. That would be a very different type of dinner that you're organizing. And with that, that kind of relationship building and things like that, you would actually enhance your employability very differently. And if you do it for 50 CEOs, imagine in one dinner, straight away you'll get 50 connections if you are the organizing chairman. Well, that is how powerful it is. Right?
True. Okay, the last question by Joante, right? And before we finish, by commenting on posts from professional people, does it give us a good impression by commenting on their posts?
Joanne, yes, it does, because there are too few undergraduates who actually do that. But with the caveat that try to be more thoughtful of the comment in that sense, okay? And not just treat it lightly. What do I mean by that? Treat it lightly. Because sometimes if you don't tell, people will assume, and assume is the worst thing they want you to do, right? We don't ask you to just comment to what you do on other social medias, like how you comment on your friend's Facebook posting or your friend's Instagram posting, where you put some emojis or you put some, just hashtag. That has not much meaning. But if you comment to say is, you either support, understand what the person has shared, and also give your own perspective to reinforce that sharing, or you can also disagree. In fact, disagreeing with the professional person from your standpoint of view, done professionally, is actually more impactful. Because not many people do that, and not many people know how to do that in a very professional and tasteful manner. I would safely say that most corporate leaders and managers actually don't mind having a debate with anyone. More so, we welcome debates with undergraduates, because we also feel that it's a good opportunity for us to share knowledge, to share experiences. So when you challenge them, challenge it professionally, it actually gives you a lot of visibility and a lot of goodwill in that sense. But please do it professionally, and courteously, of course, needless to say. So, yes, the answer is yes, but please comment with more thoughtfulness in it. Don't give a simple emoji or thumbs up, things like that, which is not very worthwhile, I would say.
Yes, correct. And then Azidin said, "Thank you, Vyasa and Mohan, for this. I already changed my headline straight
Wonderful,
away.
wonderful, Azim. Good
Straight
to hear
away,
that. Great,
action
great job,
straight
great
away,
job.
right?" Okay, so Mohan, I'm going to give everybody his contact details here. You can reach him through LinkedIn and
Yeah.
also Facebook. You can look for Mohan Corp, right?
On Facebook, I would rather that you connect with me on my page.
Yep.
It's called Prime for Success.
Okay, let me
You
just
look
get
for,
this right.
uh,
Primed
with a D,
for
Prime.
success.
Yeah.
Okay,
So I
let me
will
just write
really
it.
encourage all of you to follow this page because I'll be sharing three things on this page: LinkedIn tips, interview tips, and I also do job and internship posting here. Now I need to qualify all the job and internship posting. I'm not a recruiter or headhunter, and I don't get a commission or this. So I'm just doing for sharing purposes. So every time I see my LinkedIn connections or one professional connection that posts jobs requirements or internship requirements for new level for fresh entry, I will share it there. All right, and this will cover different industries and different kind of functions. So I will really encourage you to be part of this page. Yeah.
Right. So again, Facebook Prime for Success. This is correct, right, Mohan?
Yes, it's correct. Thanks, thanks.
Okay, awesome. So Mohan, thank you so much
Thank you,
for
thank you.
dropping by and sharing so many tips. I think we got a lot of feedback from everybody sharing that this is like a lot. They are very thankful for all the tips. Let me just share Helen. Okay, so she said she's going to start straight away.
Great, Alan.
Okay, and
Good,
then
good.
Joanne said, "Well, remember she got the points." Uh, and she's also changed her description immediately once she
Wow,
mentioned.
wow. That's
So
taking
people
action.
are
Well done.
people are
Well
taking
done.
action immediately, Muhan. So
Yes, yes.
what you shared here is awesome. It has reached people in LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. And also some parents have said thank you so much for sharing. They are definitely getting the recorded one. Okay, which we will share again. So Muhan, all the best,
Thank you.
and hope you can create a bigger impact some more. You have already created 5,500 students. I think
Yeah.
you can easily reach 10,000 this year, right?
Also
So
follow me on LinkedIn. I think my next program will be a virtual career fair happening on the 20th of this month. So I'll give the details there. It's not my career fair.
yeah,
Some other parties organize it together with Talent Corp, but I'll be one of the speakers and I will be touching on some of these points again or to give you different examples. So that will be actually a Zoom session so that you can actually tune in and actually interact directly with me. But please follow me on LinkedIn or even my Facebook page for the details of it. Right?
let me just get your Facebook page again. So thank you so much, Muhan.
Yeah.
uh, and for everybody who has been staying around and asking us so many questions and giving encouraging comments and all, thank you so much for being here. We'll see, hopefully we can see Muhan again for some other tips in the near coming future. And bye bye now.
Yeah. See you. Bye.